all of the helium burns to carbon in 1 million years. Then what happens? Well, the carbon's there. Okay? Again, the star starts to collapse because there's no more fuel, but then it heats up. Carbon starts to burn. Carbon starts to burn to form neon and nitrogen. And all of the carbon in the star burns in 100,000 years because, again, it's less efficient to process. And you get to oxygen. And oxygen, again, starts to burn eventually, and all of the oxygen burns to silicon in 10,000 years because it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, less efficient. And then, when all of the oxygen is burned to silicon, you're in the last day in the life of a star. Because remarkably, it is so hot at that point that all of the silicon in the center of the star, many thousands of times the mass of the Earth, burns to form iron in one day. And at that point, it's rapidly burning and struggling for existence, because once it's burned to form iron, it's on its last death throes. Because iron can't burn to form anything. Iron is the most tightly bound nucleus in nature, and so once that happens, there's no more fuel. And it's kind of like Wile E. Coyote, when I don't know if you see it was a cartoon that I saw in the United States called The Roadrunner. He runs off the cliff and then suddenly realizes there's no cliff there and he falls down. And that's exactly what happens to the star. When all of the silicon is burned to iron, suddenly the star realizes there's no place left to go. And that interior of the star, which has been held up by the pressure of nuclear burning, collapses. And that whole collapse happens in 1 second. And when it happens then, it spews out, there's a shock wave, and the shock wave, like an onion, spews out all of the elements that were created during the life history of a star. The carbon, the nitrogen, the oxygen, the iron. And that's vitally important, because every atom in your body was once inside a star that exploded. In fact, as I said, and I think the quote is in there, the atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right hand, because 200 million stars have exploded to create the elements that make up your body. Because in the Big Bang, only hydrogen, helium, and lithium were created. That's not important. Well, lithium may be important for some people in this room, but the rest of, but carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, all those other things are the stuff that we depend upon. And those weren't created at the beginning of the universe. The only place they were created were in the nuclear furnaces at the center of stars. And the only way they could get into your body was if the stars were kind enough to explode. So as I said, and I threw it in a throwaway line, but it's become a big line. Forget Jesus. Stars died so you'd be born today. Okay? And it's true. You are stardust. It is literally the most poetic thing I know about in all of science. You are star children. You would not be here. Just think about that. Every atom in your body has experienced, maybe more than once, the most violent explosion in the universe. They had to, because they couldn't have gotten into your bodies otherwise. And 5 billion years ago, a supernova exploded in our region of the galaxy, compressing gas, triggering the formation of our sun. And it was those elements that came from that supernova explosion, mixing with the gas in the solar neighborhood, that produced everything we see in this room, and all of the rocky planets and everything. You are connected to the cosmos in an intimate way, and your atoms have been around for billions of years, changing their form until 5 billion years ago, they came together in the current form they have, and they haven't changed since then. And they're in your body. So that was the first cosmic connection. You were connected to the universe by your atoms.